He himself is the great resurrected one, bequeathing humankind the empty tomb and accompanying his disciples with unblemished love so that they could continue their apostleship of blessings. Ilario smiled like a student satisfied with a lesson and said, "Ah, yes, I think I'm starting to get it." The work of the meeting materialized on Mount Tabor. Allah sensed that Gabriel was about to write a closing message and respectfully asked him to address a few concepts regarding mediumship, to which the supervisor kindly acquiesced. Donna Ambrosina had paused briefly to recuperate. The meeting's director asked for silence in order to end the night's work, and as soon as the group reverently quieted down, Gabriel took control of the medium's mind, and holding her arm, wrote speedily. In just a few minutes, his message was finished. The medium stood and read it aloud. "Dear friends, you must not seek in mediumship the false key to certain inappropriate arrangements, but rather the right pathway for our adjustment to the greater life. In grasping this truth, we need to renew our concepts concerning mediums, so that we do not make our fellow brothers and sisters oracles and fortune-tellers, thus forgetting the duties of our own spiritual growth. Symbolically, Spiritism is Jesus returning to the world, inviting us to individual growth through constructive and incessant work. According to the laws of cooperation, it is right to accept the loving hand offered to us for the journey of salvation, but we mustn't forget that each of us bears core problems and non-transferable needs. Whether incarnate or discarnate, we all walk a wide field of experiences and trials that are in harmony with the imperatives of our growth toward immortality. Therefore, let's neither attribute to mediums obligations that are our own, nor expect miraculous functions from mediumship. We ourselves are responsible for the arduous effort of our own ascension with regard to the responsibilities that our higher understanding imposes on us. In light of our assertions, you may ask, in keeping with the old habits that characterize our mental laziness on earth, if Spiritism and mediumship do not resolve life's enigmas completely, what are they doing in the religious sanctuary of humankind? We will reply that in Spiritism and mediumship, we can rediscover the pure thought of Christ, helping us comprehend for a broader discernment of reality. In them, we find precise information regarding the law of compensation, explaining afflictive problems of the soul, destiny, and suffering, enabling us to perceive somehow the infinite dimensions toward which we are evolving. And above all, we owe to them the light to overcome the dark labyrinths of death in order to finally connect with the true notions of cosmic consciousness. Once such formulas of reasoning are attained, we will ask you in turn, do you think it insignificant to reveal the greatness of justice? Do you believe it to be of no consequence to unveil life in its limitless facets of evolution and eternity? So, let us revere Spiritism and mediumship as two living altars in the temple of faith, on which we can contemplate the sphere of earthly cogitations from a higher perspective, and finally understand that the glory reserved for the human spirit is sublime and infinite in the divine kingdom of the universe. The psychographed communication addressed other matters, and after its reading, a brief prayer of acknowledgement followed. While the assistants returned to their conversations, Ilario and I entered a deep introspection to better learn and meditate in light of the concepts we had heard.
All right. That's the audio. And I pass to Luanda that have questions or some side notes for us.
Yeah, side notes, right? Yeah, very interesting chapter. I would like to ask you guys, bet you guys are gonna have the same question to this as I had. How many of us ever prayed for a solution for an impossible problem? I know I have. And we never get like a very clear solution to our problems. This is so interesting to me because, you know, I quite often find myself praying and saying and, and begging, please, can you be very clear? Because sometimes I don't understand, exactly what I'm supposed to do. And so we never get solutions or immediate resolutions for our problems. And it explains here, it wouldn't be a learning experience if divine intervention just solved our problems. So very well explained, I think, to me, that, and then later on it mentions that Jesus himself many times aided the sick and the afflicted without exempting them from their fundamental problems, which is like, okay, he helped, he assisted, but he did not solve their problems, because I believe the message here is that we need to find ways to solve. Each one of us has different ways that we have to go about solving our own problems. Any thoughts on that?
That was a perfect explanation. It's hard to top that.
I have asked, and sometimes depending on how great the problem is, how important, how deep and profound. Sometimes I pray, and at the same time, my heart it's not at ease. It's still in the stream, in synchrony with the vibration of fear. Although I am praying, although I understand a lot of things in terms of knowledge, I have the knowledge of a lot of things we have been studying, we have been learning with the books of André Luiz, which give us great details about the life in the spiritual world, and exactly what you said, that we ask for help and the things will not come just like this to fix my problems. Otherwise, what would be the goal, right? To be here on earth and to learn by myself to overcome my conflicts and my obstacles. But it's interesting to say that the more we exercise the muscle of faith in ourselves, faith in our deeds, and having this self-analysis of what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I am feeling, taking care of myself and meditating and working and studying, you reach to a point that you also say, everything that I could do here is being done, and I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna wait, but my heart it's in peace, because I know I've done everything that I had to do, and this is beyond my power and beyond my control. But then this is not the case of the majority of people in this planet that we are living. And it's easy for us to go into a state of desperation, and with prayer, without prayer, and we do, I believe, I'm talking, based in my own personality, but I do believe we all, in the back of our heads, we would like an angel to come, or someone like the fairy tales, someone that will come and all of a sudden will do pling and our problems will disappear. And it's not the case, but we still dream about that. Yeah, I'm doing much better now, but I remember that it was really hard to focus on my reasoning and how the things work in the spiritual realm. Everything is working, and I need to develop myself. I've been to a state of desperation a lot, and fear, and praying and asking, begging for someone to come and fix my problem. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, Cynthia. So have I. Anybody else?
Thank you,
Yes,
Luanda.
go,
And
Brett.
thank you, Cynthia. That was good. I like what you said too, Luanda. This is a really good part of the chapter, and that I find. I mean, I had a similar situation with the desperation, and desperation just causes you to do desperate things, you know. And I look back on that time as a period of big growth, because I was told to pray and ask for help. And I wasn't used to that. I was more used to like praying for specific things and, you know, hoping that they would just magically materialize. But by asking for help, I see now when I look back that I got the help, that I had received idea of the answer in my mind, which was going to solve that problem. I didn't know how to solve the problem. The way I had been trying to solve it just was not working. And that's where the desperation came from. But I've also learned that how important it is as a discipline, which is also where the meditation comes in, because taken together, prayer and meditation, which Cynthia was talking about, are just dynamite tools. It's an easy trap for me to get into asking for specifics with a desired result in mind. And that's where I've been tapped on the shoulder and told, be careful for what you pray for. You just might get it. I mean, and I mean that in, you know, the nicest way, because I don't always know what's best for me, is what I was trying to say by that. I may think I do in the moment, but now that I've been practicing it and developing that muscle a little bit with the reliance on a higher power in the spirit world, I can pray to be shown. And it's still that simple little prayer. Help me, please help me, help me. Good spirits or guardian angel, please intercede and show me the way. And then I have to sit back and not just wait. I take action, like I'm looking for guidance and I act upon the guidance. And in my case, it's usually just accepting the situation the way it's supposed to be, working through the process, building my faith, coming to these meetings, believing everything is going to be okay, and everything will be okay, because it's, you know, God's will for me to live a happy, joy the way, and being in a solution rather than a problem. So thanks again, Luanda. I really appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you. I agree with you. Desperation doesn't, I've been there so many times, you know, that you are so out of, you're not in tune. You're asking for help, but your mind is not able to receive any kind of help, because you are just, you know, you're not in tune with the divine. And I remember, like, at times just crying and saying, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? And, you know, and then I remember one time that I felt it was so amazing. I was crying inside my car, and I just didn't know how it was going to take another day. It was just horrible. And then I remember a calm, and then I realized that the solution to the problem was right. I was right there, you know, in front of me. And it was so simple. I just, you know, when you get to, you know, sometimes, you know, if you just, like you said, you know, if we just take some time and breathe and just put our minds to ease, sometimes the solutions to our problems are so much easier to find, or to receive those messages from our mentors and spiritual guides. Anybody else would like to talk about this, or should I move on? Rafa, you're so quiet.
I think when you first explained it, it was really good. So, and it happened with me too. And it's just sometimes getting to work. And if I'm not mistaken, it talks about us being lazy and not wanting to do the work as well. So it's a lot of the problems depends on us to act on it too.
So true. Well, I wanted to it just highlighted some of the things that I thought that were interesting. And here it says, no one lives alone. The part that it says, no one lives alone. The so-called dead must help incarnate brothers and sisters during their stage in dense matter, because they themselves will in turn be compelled to new immersions in the corporeal experience. And so incarnates attract invaluable help for their lives in the spiritual world, and the spirit friends who assist incarnates are building resources for tomorrow, when they will return into the terrestrial struggle. I thought this was very interesting. So they are helping us, and and then in turn we're helping them, so to achieve their goals, and to so it will be easier for them once they have to come and live this terrestrial life again. So they are helping us and we are helping them. I thought this was very interesting. And then another part that I highlighted that I thought it was interesting to understand the matter better. Let's remember the Divine Master's exemplary life. Jesus, the spiritual governor of the world, aided the sick and the afflicted without exempting them from fundamental problems, which I mentioned before. So Jesus, who had the ability of take us away from any problem that we had, did not do so, because it is our, it's part of our learning experience to encounter these problems and to figure them out. Interesting here how he mentions that, Zacchaeus, Mary Magdalene, and Lazarus. Paul of Tarsus, I don't know really the story. If anybody knows it and would like to let me know the story, but the other ones I do. So he was there. He helped them. He made his presence in their lives was, so, especially Mary Magdalene changed her whole life to follow Jesus. But he did not do that for them. They decided to make the transformations that they needed to make the transformations for themselves. Jesus did not do that for them. They needed to do the work. Let's see. Anybody would like to add something to that?
Well, then I want to. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Edmara. I'm going to talk about something, probably going to say the same thing. Let's see.
Now I just talking about Paulo the Tarsus, right? That's my favorite apostle. I just love his story, and whenever read the book. They call Paul and Stephen. It's beautiful. I really recommend. One of the most beautiful books I think that she could have your has psychograph. Well, he met Jesus in Damascus, on the road of Damascus, and then he became blind with the light of Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry, with the light of Jesus. And then Jesus kind of guided and told him what he should do at that moment. But then after that, he was by himself. He went through so many hardships and sorrows. His family didn't accept him. People wouldn't listen to him. He was called crazy. And so his life was really hard, to not say miserable many times. And then finally, well, I'm not gonna tell the end of the I'm not gonna say what happened to him at the end for those who hadn't read the book. But yes, that's the way that I understand what they say in this chapter. Yes, we do have our sorrows, we do have our path, we do have to go through trials because we created our destiny. We kind of created things that we have to go through. And it's much easier, and I've done that so many times, much easier just say, oh, come and rescue me. I don't want to suffer anymore. It's much easier. But then, in the Spirit's book, there was a question that I don't remember the number, maybe Cynthia knows or any of you guys remembers, but it's a question that Kardec actually asks the spirits. Until a point, our guardian angels or our protectors will help us and give us guidance or take us from those difficult situations. And then the spirit answers. It's like, if there is a man, and then they told the story, there was a man that he was in the desert and he was lost with no water, no food, and he was desperate. And then he prayed for God to send him water. And then God wouldn't send him like a cup of water right in front of him. That's not the way it is. But the guides or gods or, our guides, the spirit, like we talk about the spirits of light, would guide him to a place where he could get water. So to me, it was the best explanation that I ever heard when, those things come to my mind. It's like, those spirit guides, they're not gonna tell us exactly what they said in the chapter. Do that, or here you go, that's our glass of water. No. But they're gonna guide us. They're gonna help us to find a way to get to the water. And many times they talk a lot. If you read, this book or other books, they kind of are in our minds, try this way or try the other way. And that comes in, it's not that they don't say, but they don't say directly, but they give us intuition for ways that we can act, right? And it's up to us to tune in, like we talking before, to tune in and to listen to them. So that's the way that I see.
Thank you, Edmara. Thank you for letting me know about that story. I'm actually gonna look for that book that you mentioned. That's really interesting. I really didn't know about Paul of Tarsus, right? You wanted to say something, Cynthia?
Yeah. So, you mentioned about how we are interconnected with the spiritual world, and the spiritual world, the spirits are helping us and we are helping the spirits, and etc. And it just got my attention, many things of course in this chapter, but I don't want to forget to mention that when they say that a slight noise behind us got our attention, it was that discarnate young man appeared in a deplorable condition and approached the broken-hearted woman, which was his mother, was the guy that committed suicide, and it was there with his mother. Basically, remember that the mother was thinking, if you are not there, dead, if you are not dead, please visit me. Come, I'm dying from missing you. And her emotions and her vibration brought immediately that her son, and that's how spiritual life is. We are in constant connection, and there is no distance, time, or difficulty. We are always connected with the spirits. And what Brett says, be careful what you wish for in your prayers. That's so true in everything that we do too, right? But when I read this again, about the suicidal, it really touched me, because they are uh, nurturing each other's thoughts and emotions. And this is creating a kind of a depression in her. And she's saying, maybe it's better to go with my son and to be dead. So we need to learn about all those things. And I'm so happy that we're here talking about this, because these are very important, not secrets, it's just a way to use the word, just the important secrets of life to understand. We know so much technology, we know so much about a lot of things, but those simple things, how to live life, be careful with our thoughts, our prayers, and our emotional state, we in regard to the spirit realm, we still are not there yet. There are a lot of uh, we have to acquire a lot of knowledge and experience with that. Just to mention, Luanda, that you were talking about the how we are helping each other, or 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 not, or we are really hurting each other, depending on what I think, what I do in my life.
Yeah, that broke my heart too when I was reading this part, and I could feel the despair and from this mother that lost her son. And I it's so funny because not too long ago, I think a week ago, somebody was asking me, oh, the center you go to, do they write psychograph letters from the dead? And I said, and maybe I'm wrong, but I said, no, we do not do that. And I said, I heard that sometimes, some mediums, visitors come and they, I've heard that they've done them, but I don't think we have a service to write psychograph letters from that, right? Do we?
No, you are correct.
No, we don't, right?
No.
So there's this idea that a spiritual center is supposed to give you letters from the dead. This is not our focus, and our, this is not the main. People are so misguided sometimes when they think about a spiritual center. And I see here, like I did highlight this passage here that it says that the mother is begging for the son to communicate with her, but she does not realize what she's asking for, because the young man's shocking situation would cause her dreadful suffering. So again, spirituality and our guides and divinity intervening, keeping us from suffering more. It would make her suffer even more to hear from her son in the state that he was. So there's always a reason. If we cannot receive communication from the dead, is because they are not ready to communicate with us, or we are not ready to receive this communication, I guess, right? Let's see here. It's necessary for the principle to benefit the one.
I did want to say that in the past, our center has psychographed letters, and some people have received them. I don't know, it's not practiced at the moment, but it has been practiced in the past. So just wanted to fill you in on that part. And I know firsthand because I got one.
Yeah, well, I think it's beautiful work, and I think it's interesting, but I think that a lot of people have this mentality that this is what we do in the spiritual center. We communicate with the dead, and it's completely inaccurate.
Yeah, the whole concept is construed about what it's about, right? It's still a bit taboo, and I think the fact that we continue to do it, and I'm a full-blown, born and raised Irish Italian, was brought up in North Carolina, and so it took a while for me to get exposed to this, and I think it's beautiful. So we just keep doing our work, and again, the whole spirituality wave in this country, has already begun. And the work that we're doing in any walk of life, any culture, whether it comes from Brazil, and helping, spread the word, but regardless, I think it's beautiful. I just wanted to all know that, I'm going to do my part, and I'm that one grain in the sand, but I'm going to make a difference because I'm one that's doing my part, and helping, helping myself, and that gets exposures to others, and then that creates curiosity, and then they can learn what it's really about. It's not so taboo. People are looking for something else to really learn the truths, and so great stuff, man. It's really great stuff.
But Scott, there is a group here in the United States that it's from here. It's part of the culture, and they communicate with the spirits. They are just not, let's say, they're not known or respected for that, but they do a beautiful job.
Of course, absolutely.
Which group are they? Do you know which group is it?
Besides this group?
I'm not talking about the Brazilians. They are Americans. They are from here.
Yeah. You mean like from our center or another?
No. I'm talking about the Native Americans. The Native Americans are the Native Americans. They communicate with the spirits. They believe in life beyond the grave, and
absolutely,
always they have been doing this forever.
Yep. It's nothing new. I mean, you can go back to any era.
I mean, here
the
in
Mayans
the States
and the Atlantis.
No, but I mean, here
like,
in the States, which we think in the States, they don't have this connection with groups or with a culture that that communicate with the spirits, but we do have in the United States, and the Native Americans, they have been doing this.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very nice.
But I think it's phenomenal that the fact that, people such as yourself, they came from, like, I think I heard from some of your talks, you're Christian, right, Scott?
That's correct. Yep. I was raised Catholic, confirmed in the Catholic Church. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, it is. I think it's it's so great, I think, to get people such as yourself, and people that are completely new to the spirit, spiritist movement. It's so foreign. It's so completely like I can't imagine like a person, because we've been in Brazil studying and exposed to spiritism for such a long time, and thinking, like, I try sometimes to talk about that with my husband. He thinks I'm a kind of a cuckoo head, so it's like I really admire, like, and I think it's great that we are getting more and more people involved, and now, like, Brett and Donna and people that are come from a completely different culture, were never exposed to spiritism, and now they're like, studying mediumship with us. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it was an easy path from Catholic with just the root of Jesus. And then it's funny, Jesus, was a Jew, right? You used to almost have that conversation with you as well. But I think it was an easy path for me to go, all right, tell me more, right? Because the whole, the whole baseline, the whole premise was based on Jesus' teaching. So, and there's, it's a large community in this country, so it's going to happen. And the beauty, again, I know I'm repeating, but the group like this and people involved in this, and then how we act in our lives and what we say when we're out with our friends and family, this is what's going to help continue to grow the true message that needs to be happening over the next 10, 20 years or whatever. So do your part. And I'm blessed to be part of this group or any group, so for that matter. So I'm totally on board with participating and continuing to learn.
Awesome. I'm gonna just go ahead and just mention some of the things here that I thought was worth mentioning about. This passage here that says Jesus is reappearing to us now, not as a founder of rituals and dogmatic boundaries, but in his true nature as the redeemer of the human soul, the instrument of God par excellence. He utilized mediumship to light up his doctrine of love. So Jesus was a medium. And then he said, and then he talks about here about our duties, as if we are the ones of us that are going to follow into this path to become mediums and mediumship. Dear friends, you must not seek mediumship for the false key to certain inappropriate arrangements, but rather the right pathway for our adjustment to a greater life. In grasping his truth, we need to renew our concepts concerning mediums so that we do not make our fellow brothers and sisters oracles and fortune tellers, thus forgetting the duties of our own spiritual growth. Symbolically, spiritism is Jesus returning to the world, inviting us to individual growth through constructive and incessant work. Spiritism and mediumship, in spiritism and mediumship, we can rediscover the pure thought of Christ, helping us comprehend for a broader discernment of reality. In them, we find precise information regarding the law of compensation, explaining afflictive problems of the soul destiny in the dark labyrinths of death, in order to finally connect with the true notions of cosmic consciousness. I thought that was really deep. And so I guess, as what they're saying here is mediums are not supposed to be fortune tellers, and the work of mediums it's so much more, and it is to help and not to be, you know, well, you guys can explain it better because I'm out of words here. But I guess it just goes back to what he said before. You know, the medium probably could, like in that service, give a word to the mother that was so desperate to hear from the son who killed himself. But that was not what was needed then. And we need to provide, you know, help, and not what people expect from mediums, right? Is that what I think it's saying here? You guys help me out.
Yes, exactly.
Just want to point out for you guys, if you are curious about it, in the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, the section question 489 and so on, it talks about guardian angels and protector spirits, and you know, our families that discarnate. So it's very interesting. Kardec goes deep in this subject here, so it's interesting. Who would like to go deep in this issue?
Anyone that didn't talk tonight would like to add something or say something?
Francisco sent a message in the chat.
Yes, Francisco said, should
Yes,
we
should we
continue?
continue next week to comment on the message
Sure,
that Gabriel wrote
absolutely.
on the message?
Absolutely, Francisco. Would you like to bring the questions for us and the notes?
Yeah, about the message, yes.
Okay, we can do this. I'm gonna be moving down to South Florida, and then I won't be able to do it, but I will be here studying. I just can't prepare something, but okay, perfect. Anyone would like to say something before we close? We have been learning a lot with these books, and we will always have so many questions, right? Not enough time to discuss and to talk about all of this.
No, not at all. Never enough time. I have one question for you guys. It's always on my mind, but I feel embarrassed to ask. Is it expected when you have a group like this that you're gonna take like all of them will graduate to mediums in the spiritual center, or some of us are gonna follow a different path, some of us are not gonna be prepared? How does that process go?
Just like in a school, just like in university, just like in a school, a lot of people, they take the classes. Some people decide to move on and work with the material they have received, and others don't. So that's very up to every single person to decide.
I see.
Yeah, the same way. Of course, it would be better to the spiritual world if we decide to come and join the group and move on and begin to communicate with the spirits and allow those communications to go through, because there are, as we know, not too many mediumistic meetings in United States, especially in English. There are mediumistic meetings, but majority is in Portuguese and not like in Brazil where you can find a mediumistic meeting basically in almost every corner. In the United States, imagine the spirits, they want to communicate, and they need people that are willing to do this kind of work. And it will be great. And in the future, this will be more common, but we still struggle with lack of initiatives to do this kind of work, not taking away the merit of some serious people that are anonymous and they are doing this kind of job, and they are not part of spiritist movement, but I know there are uh, serious people that do communication with the spirits. But the more structured is the spiritist meeting, the mediumistic meeting, uh, better and more protected are those that are working seriously on this matter. So it is very important, so we can support each other. So so much better to have a group of people in aligned with the same idea, with the same goal, instead of working alone or working two people in a mediumistic meeting. It's so much, let's say, good vibrations involved, and if the group is serious, then they can do wonderful things, beautiful things, really.
Nice.
Mediumistic meeting is amazing. It's an amazing experience, and everybody that is part of simply doesn't want to go away, want to keep doing. We learn so much. We hear the stories, just like we are hearing the stories here in the book about those spirits and how they're coming, and they want to change, and they want to live a happier life, and they want to communicate with the loved ones to say they are not dead as they thought they would be, and so on and so forth. This is so beautiful, so amazing.
Thank you, Cynthia. That's, yeah, I always wanted to ask, and I didn't. Some of you guys are already working as mediums in the Spiritist Center in the house. Is that correct?
Here in the group, no. We have worked before in a Spiritist Center in mediumistic meeting, but I don't think anyone here it's in one of the mediumistic meetings in the Broward Spiritist Society. No, Broward
Oh,
Spirit Society has a few mediumistic meetings right now. They're on hold. I don't know. I don't know if it's on hold right now, but the center is not completely open because of the situation. But there are a few mediumistic meetings there, and because of the classes that we have, there will be many more. There will be many because there are lots of people studying in different in Portuguese. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of classes and a lot of uh, yeah, classes. So there will be many for the years to come, which is great news.
that's great. That's great to know.
Well, then I would like to invite anyone to do our closing prayer. So next week, we're going to continue the same chapter. Okay. Nobody wants to do the closing prayer. Okay, I invite you. I invite you to do it. So let's close our eyes or not, whatever is more comfortable for you. And let's remember that we have light within. We are light. We are love. We are already. The antenna. We have the perfect antenna ready to work, and it's working. If we know it or not, our antenna is working in communication with the spiritual realm. Let's picture ourselves with our antenna, which is our pineal gland, in tune with our spiritual family, our spiritual friends, nurturing each other's thoughts and feelings with positive, hopeful ideas and intentions. Let's open ourselves to a more elevated experiences. May we receive the intuition from the spirit realm. May we receive the intuition from ourselves, which is talking to us all the time. May we be aware every day, more and more, of all the wonderful things that surround us. May we become more sensitive to the all the things that are unveiling in front of us, and sometimes we can't because we are so distracted or we are so irritated, so anxious. Let's learn to calm our hearts and perceive this beautiful spiritual world, the different dimensions that we are part of and we don't even know. Let's picture ourselves right now just with the simply desire to be healthier. Picture all our bodies, our spiritual body, our mental body, our physical body, our chakras, aligning each one of them, beautiful, shining, healthy. And with that, we close our tonight's activities, wishing that next week we're gonna be here, exchanging good vibrations with each other, and with our little help, elevating the vibration of this planet. May we have a wonderful evening, and may we bless with our love and respect all the beings on this planet, incarnates and discarnates. Thank you, and so be it.